As artificial intelligence becomes increasingly more prevalent, it's essential to understand how education can be affected. That is why Manlius Pebble Hill is aiming to teach their students how to navigate through the world of AI and how to do so successfully.
And joining us now to talk about their upcoming open discussion on AI is Jim Foley, head of school at Manlius Pebble Hill. Welcome back to Bridge Street.
Thanks, Iris. Thanks, Eric. It's good to see you again.
Of course. Good to see you as well. So how has AI impacted just the way schools have been teaching students?
Oh, well, I mean, on the superficial level, the first thing I think everybody did was go back and look at their honor codes or their plagiarism policies, right? It's something to be able to say, when you can push a button to say, produce me a 5-page essay on X, right? All of a sudden, things change. But that's superficial, I think, in so many respects, because the bigger question is more, if we have a brand new tool with so much potential for extraordinary good, so much potential for serious concern, what are the things that we need to instill in our children in terms of mindsets, in terms of habits, in terms of ways of thinking about this capacity? So, I'd argue the best AI detector is a great relationship between a teacher and a student, right? That's something you don't have to necessarily write into the handbook. That's in the culture and the DNA of the school. But what do we want our kids to think about their learning for when we have these kinds of tools available?
You mentioned possible plagiarism and stuff like that. That's kind of where my mind went, and maybe that says more about me. But how have students actually been using AI at MPH in a way that isn't, negative?
Sure. I think it starts with having an open conversation and dialogue and inviting students into that conversation. A lot like we did with revising our cell phone policies, right? I mean, we didn't wait for a mandate from the state to make a change there. But when we did it, we also had an ongoing series of conversations with our middle and our high school students in particular about the ways in which they saw that impacting their work. They had a lot of input in the final result of our cell phone policy. Much the same way here. So we actually have an elective class that we offer. Well over half, maybe close to 90% of our upper school students have taken it at some point by now. And the class is taught by a computer scientist, and it's called Decoding the Cognitive Revolution, right? And it's looking at the history and development of AI, but also looking at practice with AI. What are the things that this tool can do? Let's go through that together. Let's look at where all of a sudden it pops out, biased results, or where does it give you something that's kind of superficial, right? What are the ways in which you can think about how it can hinder your, your creativity and your authentic voice? What are the ways in which it might be able to draw it out? That's at a high school level, right? Something that's more appropriate for a third grade class. We had some students who were working on developing sight word recognition. They wanted to develop a mnemonic song to remember it by, right? So they put a whole bunch of things together into a prompt. They asked the AI to give them a couple different examples of a song. Guess what? They ended up, getting a song that they liked. They had strong opinions about. They edited it and revised it, and then all of a sudden now they've got the song that they sing to remember the French roots of words that they're looking at in that unit.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about the seminar, what you're going to discuss, and who some of the experts are going to be. Absolutely.
So I'm extraordinarily excited to bring Po Shen Lo here, back here actually, because I saw him when he came through here a little while back. He is the former coach of the U.S. Math Olympic team. He's also a computer science professor at Carnegie Mellon, and he travels extensively around the country as an innovator and an entrepreneur talking about the impacts of these things on education. Something I did not know, by definition, the Olympic math problems that come up, they are generated by former Olympic competitors. They are brand new problems that nobody has ever seen before. And when I think about another thing that I didn't quite appreciate before talking with him, we talk a lot about the state of math education in the United States. I didn't know. Do you know that the United States math team utterly crushes international competition in the Math Olympics? We worry a lot about the PISA scores and some of those other things about literacy and numeracy, but when it comes to solving unknown problems, innovative problems, right? Having to be able to think creatively outside of the box. We are extraordinary at that. we need to be thinking carefully about what does that mean for a new generation that has a tool that it would be very easy to outsource your creativity to, right? And so he sees some incredible impacts of that throughout his different elements of his work with young people, with corporations, right? So, you know, I'm excited for that conversation.
Yeah, great, Jim. Great to have you on. Important discussion that you're hosting at Manlius Pebble Hill. The Manlius Pebble Hill AI discussion will be held at the Everson on Tuesday, February 11th at 6 p.m. The cost is $10 per person. To register, visit eventbrite.com.